And but we want to try to stay on track as close as possible here. Okay, the next speaker does not need introducing again, and we have introduced him. And I hope you guys have had time to spend with Dr. Williams. And Alan is a very important part of our deal, and he's important to you. So, without talking anymore, Alan, come on up. And talk out.
I hear you. I understand.
I told Alan I'm talked out. And I don't know if it's the talking or the stares. It's one or the other.
Combination.
Go for it.
Well, I get the pleasure of trying to keep you awake after lunch the second day in a row. So I don't know what they think of me about that, but for those of y'all that are from other parts of the world, and I've been speaking a lot up north over the last few weeks, and I put this slide in here to show them that it does sometimes snow in Mississippi. This was just a few weeks ago outside my back door at our house there in Starkville, Mississippi, and that's my son out there, and he's 13. He's our youngest, the only one still at home, and this is the first substantial snow in his lifetime. Okay, so he was just thrilled to death to see this, and he got out on the four-wheeler and just tore all through the snow and everything else. So he had a high time, but like in Mississippi, you know, it was very fleeting, so it was gone within a few hours. Now, this is what my wife accuses me of, okay? She says, how can you talk if you haven't a brain? And Scarecrow says, oh, some people without brains do an awful lot of talking. So, so I get accused of that all the time. My wife says, that's all you do. You just talk, talk, talk. And I said, well, that's about the only way I have of earning a living, honey. So I want to tell you a quick story here, and this is on my mother-in-law. You know, and the only reason I'm telling this is because she's not here, all right? But every year, you know, she likes to join that side, my wife's side of the family together for Thanksgiving. And so she wants to find the absolute biggest turkey she can find, okay, to cook for Thanksgiving, because she feels like she's got to have just a great big one to feed all of these people. So last year before Thanksgiving, she was in the grocery store, and y'all know how they'll have all the turkeys in a bin there, you know, and just piled up and everything in the bin. So she was picking up a turkey out of the bin and feeling of it and all of this, and then setting it aside, and then she would reach down and pick up the next one and do the same thing, you know, sort of get a feel for it and set it aside. And there was this stock boy that was standing over here with a broom in his hand, sort of leaning on his broom, watching her during this whole time. And, you know, he had this puzzled look on his face. And she got to the very last turkey in the bin and did the same thing, picked it up, sort of felt of it, and set it aside. And she turned to the stock boy and she said, son, did these turkeys get any bigger? And he said, no, ma'am, they're dead. So, okay, what I want to talk about today is the importance of our soil, okay? You know, there's a number of roles that our soil plays for us, and obviously it's the foundation for everything that we do. You know, Franklin Delano Roosevelt said that a nation that destroys its soil destroys itself, and the Sioux have a saying that says to touch the earth is to have harmony with nature. Now, this picture is a satellite picture that was taken on January the 11th of this year. Okay, January the 11th of this year, out on the border between eastern Colorado and western Kansas. And as most of you are aware, in that part of the United States this past year and many other portions of the entire Midwest, we had a very severe drought. But this is an indication of just how severe that drought was and that we still have ongoing impact. What you see there, all of that dark that you see in that satellite picture is a dust storm, okay? Again, taken from space with a satellite. Now here is a ground level picture of that same dust storm in January of this year. Now we might expect that, and we had some back in the summer months, but to have this in January, is pretty foreboding. Now, again, if we talk about the importance of our soul, Carl Mickey says that the primary social adjustment then is the adjustment of society to the land. Okay, the adjustment of society to the land. The outstanding biological soil-forming factor is man. So we can take soil both ways. We can either destroy it or we can build it. And then Charles Kellogg said, do civilizations fail because the soil fails to produce, or does the soil fail only when the people living on it no longer know how to manage their civilization? And then Stephen Solomon said that every era has been shaped by its response to the great water challenge of its time. Those societies that find the most innovative responses to the crisis are the ones that are most likely to come out the winners. And we are certainly facing, at least here in the U.S., a very severe ongoing drought conditions that meteorologists have predicted will continue into the growing season for 2013. Man, despite his artistic pretensions, his sophistication, and his many accomplishments, owes his existence to a mere 6-inch layer of topsoil and the fact that it rains. Okay? And then Alan Savory talks about the only known tool to heal the land is animal impact. Leopold says land then is not merely soil, it is a fountain of energy flowing through a circuit of soils, plants, and animals. So we have to have the whole package here, folks, from the microbes through the insects, the earthworms, the animals, the birds, the plant life. Everything is critically important in having healthy soils. Now, Dr. Ingham, who was on faculty at Oregon State University and is now part of the Rodale Institute, made this statement that every chemical-based pesticide, fumigant, and herbicide and fertilizer tested does do some harm, okay? Even when applied at rates recommended by manufacturers, and that many of these have not actually been tested for their impact on soil microorganisms. So again, it all starts with the soil. And if we take a look at this chart, you can clearly see that as we improve soil quality over time, there's a whole host of benefits that we get from soil improvement, from water and nutrient holding, aggregation and infiltration, carbon sequestration. We improve water and air quality, and last but certainly not least, we improve our productivity on our land. Now, you've seen this many times. It's the soil food web. This just is simply to put up here to show you, and it clearly illustrates the soil is alive, and we have many different trophic layers that we're dealing with. Now, the invisible world underneath our feet should be teeming with microbes, okay? And these microbes have the ability to convert sun, water, CO2, and crop residue into income for farmers and ranchers. The microbes are out of our sight, but they're too vital for us to ignore. Now, the functions of microbes, first of all, they build soil highways. Okay? They build soil highways that transport nutrients to our plants. They also function as storage, okay, for these nutrients. They also transport essential gases and moisture. Microbes decay organic matter. They cycle nutrients back into plants in a usable form. They unlock chemical bonds and nutrients to make them bioavailable so that plants can uptake